The countdown on to Super Bowl 56. I mean, we can't wait. We're pumped for this. There's going to be a number of games within the big game itself.
That's right. NFL Hall of Fame running back Barry Sanders sharing his predictions for the Super Bowl and how Rocket Mortgage is helping fans score $500,000. The legend, Barry, thanks so much for being on our show here this morning. Sure appreciate it.
So great to be with you guys. How's it going this morning?
Oh, we're great. We're great. All right, give us your predictions. What do you think of the Rams and the Bengals? Did you think those two would end up here in the Super Bowl? And what are your thoughts on the matchup?
Absolutely. Such an interesting matchup. You know, you got kind of the young upstart sort of Joe Burrow-led Bengals. You know, I mean, I think not many people obviously would have picked them, you know, outside of that locker room. And so, but they've come through the gauntlet of NFL season and playoffs, and you know they knocked off one of the most successful teams over the last 4 or 5 years in the Kansas City Chiefs to be here. Right. And then you look at the Rams, who you know they have I feel like almost like Hall of Famers at every position. Right. You know, and of course they were just in the Super Bowl just a few short years ago. You know, and so I'm leaning toward the home team. Okay. Which is the Rams. I believe they would be officially the home team in the Super Bowl. I don't know how they're going to figure that part out, but obviously we know that they is their home stadium. Yeah. But they just had a great year. It doesn't matter where the Super Bowl is being played. They've played better than anyone the last couple of years. Obviously this year, adding Matthew Stafford, you know, and just you look at Cooper Kupp, you look at Matthew, you look at Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey. You know, I mean, the list goes on. Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah. I mean, they, you know, so you would think this is their time. So I'm leaning more toward the Rams.
Okay.
Yeah, fun team to watch.
Hearing it from Barry Sanders himself. As you're talking, Barry, I'm like, we're talking to Barry Sanders. Yeah. This is amazing. You still look like you're playing football. Tell us about that. I mean, you retired at age 30, and look at you still looking strong.
You bench press twice as much as I can. Wow. Yeah.
I think maybe the lighting and the makeup does wonders.
Oh, come on.
You know, so but I appreciate that.
Well, it's such a fun career it was to watch you. Yeah. What do you think of some of the news with like, you know, the Tom Brady's of the world announcing retirement here? What was your initial reaction to that?
Well, I think everyone was kind of waiting on the edge of their seat to see what he was going to do. I know that can be a really tough decision. Right. You know, I think, you know, just kind of replaying his career and all those highlights and what he meant to the game and the great games that he played in and the championships and just the great moments that he provided the NFL and provided fans. You know, I think most of us hate to see him go. You know, unless obviously you're in you know, playing against him, but right. But even then, you know, he's one of those guys that earn your respect, you know, whether you're on his team or not, and just a great ambassador for the game, and just for sports in general. You know, to see kind of where he came from to what he was able to accomplish, just a remarkable story. That no one could have predicted, you know, and not to mention the fact that the guy could still continue to play at a high level if he wanted to, you know. So, but it is a young man's game. He's 44 years old. I think there's just great symmetry. You know, he's 44. He's played for 22 years. You know, and you know, hey, look, the guy can do what he wants. He has great options, right? And he's choosing to retire, and so I wish him luck.
Yeah, a lot of similarities with you, Barry, because you left at the peak of your game. And you know, my husband, I was telling him we get to talk to Barry today, and he's like, "Oh, why did he ever leave and stop playing?" Hey. I know it's a hard decision to make, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a tough decision. Yeah. Most of us, we start playing this game at a very early age, and it's just a part of us, and there's a strong emotional connection to the game. And so, but I knew that, you know, he's a thoughtful person, and he's going to make the right decision for him and his family.
Right.
A lot of people so excited about the you know, the Super Bowl. Even the, you know, football fans aren't you know, they get involved in this too, right? They tune in for the commercials, the halftime show, and then there's always these fun games to play too, right? So tell us about this Squares game.
Absolutely. So the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Square Sweepstakes gives fans a chance to win a lot of cash during the game. So the way it works is every score change, Rocket Mortgage is going to give away $50,000. And then there's 2 grand prizes of $500,000, which will be given away at halftime and at the end of the game. If you go onto the website, rocketmortgagesquares.com, get signed up before February 11th, maybe refer a friend and potentially win additional squares or win an NFLshop.com gift card. And so it's free to play. All you have to do is be 18 years old, I think. And they're giving away a lot of cash. They've given away like over $3 million in the last few years.
Wow.
And so it's just another great reason to watch the big game.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like, obviously, to bet on the outcome, but then all the side bets, those are a lot of fun. I'm curious to hear from you, Barry, what you think about the halftime show, too.
Yes.
I know there's some bets involved in that. I have money on the fact that Rihanna is going to appear in the middle of the halftime show. I know that was not part of the lineup, but I think she will show up. What do you think about this halftime show?
Well, no, look, I'm looking forward to it. I know there's going to be a great show with a lot of artists from all over. I know there a lot of LA West Coast based artists as well that I think people will enjoy and that I'm particularly looking forward to. So it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great halftime show. I don't think I'm putting any bets down on a halftime show. But nevertheless, it's going to be a great show all around.
Yeah, it is. No one broke ankles better than Barry Sanders. Watching some of the videos, just making people look silly out there. Any running backs, real quick, we got to run here, but any running backs you see that, you kind of remind you of yourself back in the day, in the modern day football here?
No, I think there's some good young running backs in the game. I think you look at Jonathan Taylor, what he did this year, putting himself in the MVP conversation. You look at Nick Chubb, you look at Zeke Elliott.
Yeah.
Obviously a different type of runner, but Derrick Henry, he's been one of the most dominant offensive players in the game the last few years. So there's some really good young running backs out there that I enjoy watching. But I think you're going to hear a lot more from Jonathan Taylor, and the way he stepped up this year and was threatening to get 2,000 yards.
Absolutely.
Barry, I do have to ask, will the former San Diego Chargers ever win a Super Bowl? Everyone laughs at that question.
They got a great young quarterback in Justin Herbert. He's made a lot of noise the last couple of years, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a deep playoff run and potentially make it to the Super Bowl. Obviously, you look at that roster with the Rams, and you guys got some work to do to put together a roster like that. But in today's NFL, there's a small margin, between most of these teams, and so you never know what can happen.
Very good.
You heard it from Barry Sanders himself, the legend, the Hall of Famer. Thanks so much for joining us this morning here, Barry. I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure for being with you guys. Take care.